welcome back to the UDK3 series scripting for newbies. On this video, this is video 8, and we're going to talk about default properties. Let's have a look at what default properties are. First of all, here we are back on our classic MyNote, you see, and I'm going to open it. And what I've done is I have 4 variables I put in there, and I put the parentheses there so that they can be seen by the user. I have a string, an integer, a boolean, and a float. So looking at those, let me go ahead and minimize this screen here for now. Let's go into the UDK3 editor, which I've already done, and let's see what this looks like. I'm going to go over here, click on this, and then I'm going to hit my F4 key, which is right here, and there's my properties, my default, my properties. For MyNote, I have my string, and there's nothing there, there's no value there. I have an integer, and essentially there's no value there, it's a 0. True, false, it comes up false by default. And my decimal, and again, there's nothing there. Well, there is a 0, you might say. But let's see what, supposing I wanted this to come up, and when it did come up in the editor, I wanted it to have some values in here. In other words, some default properties. Let's see how I could do that. So I'm going to close this out and close this guy out here. And it says, do you want to save? Nope, don't save. And I'm right back to here. So here's how I put in my default properties. What I do is I use a keyword, and let me see if I can grab it here so that I don't suffer you through my bad typing. The keyword goes right down here, and it is called default properties. Now what's very important about this keyword is that I put an opening brace right here. If I don't do that for what is to follow, I will not get an error message, but it won't work. So here's what I'm going to put in the rest of this. Let me get it right here. I'm taking it off my P notes. I'm just trying to do a copy and a paste here, and there's my paste. So here's what I'm doing. Notice I end this in a brace. I open it with a left brace and I end it with a right brace. What I have here is for my variable identifier, my string, I'm giving it a value, and I'm putting hello everyone. The identifier, my integer identifier, my integer, that variable there, I'm giving it a value of 45. I'm giving my true false a value of true, and I'm giving my decimal a value of 34.875. So now what I've done is I'm giving some default properties, some default values to these variables that I have already declared in the program. So I'm going to save this now. I'm going to kick up the editor, and it should come up and it says, do you want to rebuild? Yes, I do. Let's hope there's no errors, and here comes my great screen, and it goes, yep, and there's no errors. Now let's see what the difference is. Okay, I'm going to double click my UDK editor. It's coming up, doing its thing, and let's see what the difference is. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to move this out of the way, and then I'm going to close this, and I'm going to come to my favorite one right here, uncategorized. There's note, MyNote. I'm going to come over here and put add MyNote here, and there's MyNote, and then I'm going to come up here and hit the F4 key, which is right here. And now what do I see? Now what the difference is that there are now default properties or values that are put into these variables that I declared. If the end user wants to change them, that's fine. They can right here. However, there were some values that came up that maybe were values that I use a lot, or maybe something I wanted to remind the end user about. Okay, so that's how we do. Here's how we did it. Okay, right here we use the keyword default properties. Make sure you have an opening brace, make sure you have a closing brace, and I did this right here after I declared my variables. Okay, that's it for this video. thank you for watching.